Hello, my name is Lovro Miklauzic. I'm here in front of Cool Wine Academy, and today I'm going to be talking about label reading. So I said it right, just talking. I'm not going to be able to teach you anything in a 5 or 10 minute video. It's a lifetime experience to know something about regions and labels. We're going to start with two simple versions of label reading to get where we're going. To know one thing, there are 10,000 different varieties in growth today, and here in front of us in these wines, in these blends or cuvées, we only have like around 20 of them. So what am I trying to say? First off, we're gonna start with something that's really simple to learn, and usually a subject of every beginner sommelier class is gonna be a Chablis wine. So what do we know about Chablis? It's the most northern region in Burgundy, and it only grows Chardonnay. So if you check out the label, nowhere on the label will it be shown that it's from Burgundy or that they grow Chardonnay. So it's quite confusing. But the thing is, if you want to become a sommelier, first you need to learn geography of wine producing countries, their regions, sub-regions, villages, Premier Crus and Grand Crus. Why did I mention these? Because there's a specific quality tier system that presents quality of certain growing position for a future wine. So when I'm talking about it, let's go back to the first bottle. If it only says Chablis on the bottle with no additional information than of producer, it would be quality level number one. Or let's think about it like a one-star hotel. So if it says Bordeaux, Burgundy, and no other information, it's quality level number one or one-star wine. Then if we view the label and if we see some additional information like a village name, we can talk about quality level or a two-star wine. If we have certain villages that are well known for producing high quality wines, we would have to search for such information in a wine atlas, or we would have to know it by heart if we are experts for a certain region. So, and then in the end you would have to have a Premier Cru name or a Grand Cru name to achieve like a 4-star quality wine or a 5-star quality wine. Let's think about it as a Grand Cru would be the highest quality a wine can achieve. When we talk about crus, we're talking about terroirs. We're actually talking about specific pieces of soils in a region that holds like 10 or 20 sub-regions that grow grapes. So 5-star wines are only from up to 2% of all the soils in growth around the world. Those would be the top terroirs or the top wines. When we talk about quality of wine, the highest quality terroir doesn't literally mean that the wine is going to be of the highest quality. It's going to be high in quality, but when you think about history of naming the highest quality terroirs, it's always based on the quality of soil towards the grape or how good the yield is. And that brings us to our next theme, and it is the vintage. So vintages are sometimes not shown anywhere on the label. If we took a peek at the back label, at the front label, it can be a non-vintage wine. It means that they've been probably mixing wines, they usually call them base wines from different vintages to achieve a high quality cuvée. If we take a peek at this label, usually the biggest letters are of those of the producer. So the producer is Giton and his sons, so quite easy to understand, and the region would be Pouilly-Fumé, which is in southern Loire or eastern bank of France. There is a trick to this wine. I actually made a mistake when buying it. I thought it was a Sauvignon Blanc, but I didn't read the fine print because I was in a hurry. So I didn't read that it's Pouilly-sur-Loire, which means that it's only like up to 5, 10 or 15% of Sauvignon Blanc in this cuvée. So I made an honest mistake trying to teach my students something about Sauvignon Blanc, and then I got this wine that resembled more an oak-aged Chardonnay. But that was my mistake. Okay, to get back to the vintages, we have a vintage 2015. The easiest way to check out the vintages is to Google them. So each region has, let's say, quality of vintages named by some experts online. So that's the only and the easiest way to know such things. For example, here in Croatia, if you talk about good vintages in the continent, you can talk about 2018, 2011, 2012, 2016. So there are a couple of vintages that produce better quality wines, but that you have to Google, you have to talk to Wine Society to know such small facts that are really important for the quality of wine. When we talk about quality of wine, this next wine would be a great example. If we see this vintage 2013, I buy their wines because they're good in quality. The quality is quite stable. But let's say I had their 2013, I had the 2014 and 2015. There's a huge difference between these vintages. So here in Croatia, retail price of this wine would be around 30 to 40 euros a bottle. You get the same wine from the different vintage, but the quality of wine is not worth more than, let's say, 10 or 20 euros or $25. But what you're paying for, it's basically the pedigree. So if you're buying Chateauneuf du Pape as a region or a brand of like this, the lowest price you're gonna pay is at least 20 euros. And it's got almost nothing to do with quality. I'm not saying this is a good quality wine, but it's basically the pedigree of the terroir you're paying for. It's the same thing with their white wine. I mean, look at these bottles. They look exactly the same. The only difference is the color of the cap that distinguishes them. That one is a white wine and the other is a red wine. When I was buying them, I thought I was buying two different vintages in a wine shop, but you know wine shops, they're dark, misty, cold, so you cannot literally see the color of the wine on the label, and it doesn't tell you anywhere on the label. It doesn't show that this would be a white wine and this is a red wine. It doesn't even say on the back label the color of the wine. So you really have to pay a lot of attention when buying a wine. Interesting fact about these wines, that they're of the similar quality, although vintages are quite wide apart, let's say 4 vintages away, but the stability of the quality for this certain brand is quite high. Here in Kulin, we focus our objective on teaching you about Croatian terroir and Croatian quality of wine. So basically we have 4 different big regions in which we have a lot of sub-regions like any other country. We also have 130 indigenous varieties that are different and specific for each county, each village, each Premier Cru or each Grand Cru. So these would be 2 specific terroirs in Croatia that were named by the state. They're not literally called a Premier Cru or a Grand Cru, they're more about expressing soil taste in a certain wine. So if you want something that's more dry fruity based, you will choose Postup. If you want something that's more kinky and have flavors and you have to wait 3 to 6 hours after decanting, you choose Dingač. So basically that's like the biggest difference between these 2 bottles. So one thing we didn't talk about is that sommeliers are usually specialized for certain specific regions or sub-regions. No one in the world can know everything about 10,000 varieties, how they're mixed, blended, cuvée together, what qualities that there are. So usually probably, you know, your own country, if you live in Czech Republic, if you live in Great Britain, you have people or sommeliers or wine traders, however you want to call them, that are specialized for certain growing regions, let's say, be it Tuscany, be it Loire Valley, be it Burgundy. So they're quite specific about what they do, as we are specific about teaching people about quality of certain regional wines in Croatia. A good example of that would be this bottle of Dingač, which people usually, even Croatians, contribute to a wine. So they do not understand that it's actually Plavac Mali variety. 100% Plavac Mali. So we can actually compare it to this Chardonnay that we talked about in the beginning. So when buying Postup and Dingač, you actually buy 100% Plavac Mali variety. That is the true meaning of understanding label reading. So knowing geography and knowing specific variety that's grown there and what quality of the growing section, piece of soil are you buying for what price. The best example is maybe if you're buying something exquisite like premium Bordeaux wines, you can pay for the same brand 50 euros or 500 euros, which is a huge difference in the price. And it all base its value on the position of growing and the vintage. That's what you need to track, and that you can track on your own. Everything else you would have to pass at least a level 3 sommelier course to know some difference in terroirs and to know some understanding of let's say wine geography knowledge. That's it for today. Thank you for viewing this video, and goodbye from our team in Kulin.